Hello all, welcome to the channel. This is the start of a new creative project that I've been chipping away at in Planet Coaster 2, and I am calling it the Grand Nexus. So this is going to be sort of like a mythic multi-theme park with I'm thinking as of now, five distinct lands. And kind of the idea is that it's all centered around this mysterious overgrown ancient tower at the heart of it all. And then like the entrance, I'm using like a portal idea that kind of like, the idea is that as you're walking through lands, different regions of the park, you're kind of going through this portal to these different dimensions, if you will. If you're into creative building, world building, immersion, mood, tone setting, all those things, or you just like seeing parks come together piece by piece, you'll hopefully enjoy this. So yeah, without further ado, let's take a look. Alright, so this first bit you're seeing here isn't the final entrance. This is more of like me filling things out. I kind of use this as sort of like a brainstorming through building exercise, maybe like a sketch through building type of deal. I didn't have like a concrete plan yet. I had sort of an image in my head that I wanted to go for. But yeah, I just started kind of placing pieces that felt right in this circular rotating structure with mechanical rings and these arrow-like elements that sort of stutter and shift in place. This is kind of the genesis of this park idea. This is less about function in terms of the structure that I'm building, less about function and like, you know, actual purpose, and more about mood setting and immersion again. So like what would a portal or nexus actually look like if it had ancient mechanical roots? And that's where the whole idea really started to click for me. This kind of fusion between myth and machinery, a lost civilization with tech that feels sort of magical because it's so old and mysterious, something we've never seen before. It almost gives sort of like and again, this is kind of where my brain was at the time of kind of creating this world that I'm creating. It's sort of like the Zonai stuff in Tears of the Kingdom, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, if you play that game, or like the Sheikah tech in Breath of the Wild, where you're not really sure what you're looking at. Is it advanced science? Is it some sort of forgotten magic type deal? So that's kind of the vibe I'm going for. And yeah, I ended up evolving this idea a lot as I built it out. But this again was sort of the seed and the vibe I was sort of trying to chase as the entrance started to come together. So from here, the idea started to take on more shape of like what you'll see in the final version of this structure. I kept a few elements from that first sketch, some of the, you know, like the ring motifs and the general circular structure, that sort of thing. But I started blending them into something that felt a little bit more grounded in the world that I was picturing. I wanted it to look like a ruin, something ancient, stone built, with just enough, you know, leftover detail to hint that it used to be something more advanced. And you'll notice I eventually move away from the rotating rings in the center at some point in this build. I like the energy they gave off and kind of like the feeling it gave, but I had something else in mind for that space later on, something that probably better fits the idea of the portal to other realms, which you'll see in a minute or so. But this is the point where it all started to feel like it sort of belonged with what I was imagining in my head. So like it actually could exist in this world of forgotten ruins and overgrown magic and that sort of thing. At this point, I started working out the pathing layout, and this is where the whole entrance really started to kind of click for me in terms of how I wanted to build the surrounding area of this giant structure. So the idea was to create this circular route that wraps around the main structure with another path that's going to cut directly through the center and underneath it all. And each path is going to lead to a set of ticket gates, kind of giving the guests a different way to approach the park and approach the entrance of the park, and sort of give options to like kind of immerse yourself through this ancient ruin village that you'll see at the end of the video. That's kind of how I fill in this empty space. But again, each path is going to lead to a set of ticket gates, and no matter which way you go, the layout eventually was going to pull you towards this central moment. So through like the middle path, just past the structure, I wanted there to be like this reveal, a towering ancient ruin, overgrown, weathered, looming just beyond kind of like this entrance. So you come through the gate and you see the centerpiece, the heart of the park, by way of this like I said, this tower, and everything else in the park is kind of radiate outward from it. So yeah, I was trying to make this sort of like, I really wanted this first view to be like earned, you know. So you've stepped through something old, and then you catch your first glimpse of something even bigger in the distance. Again, trying to immerse the guests into this world that I'm trying to create. So you won't be seeing the full build of that tower in this episode, but I'm thinking maybe giving kind of like a peek of that view at the end of this video, just to kind of show you what I'm talking about. And I'm actually really proud of that build and the view and kind of like the ending sequence to this entrance. Next up, I started filling out some of the surrounding space around the entrance and building what I imagine to be like an old ruined village. And this part of the build really started to click thanks to a piece that I found on the workshop. This great sort of crumbling archway that someone had built. I recolored it to match the tones of the main structure that I've already built, and right away it just felt like it kind of belonged once I plopped it down in there. And then I also pulled in some ruins that I had made for a Zelda themed coaster for my last park project. Again, just reworked those to match the vibe here too, recolored, yada yada. Yeah, I sort of love when a build starts like this, when you're not trying to reinvent the wheel, build everything from scratch. You're just kind of riffing off of other ideas, remixing pieces, following the feel of the place that you're building, that sort of thing. So yeah, shout out to that creator for the archway. I appreciate your creativity, your talent. It really helped kind of anchor this whole little pocket of the world that I'm building, and kind of gave me a direction to build from and kind of like a point to jump from. So to wrap things up, I'm putting together some custom fencing to line the paths. Just something subtle that kind of felt like it fit the materials and the rest of the vibe of this world that I'm building. And just like, little details like this, I feel like they help the space feel more grounded and complete, even if, it's not like the most outwardly projecting piece in the entire park. So something subtle that, again, just kind of grounds the whole build together. Also skip over the tree and nature detailing, that sort of stuff. It's important. Again, something that's needed to kind of ground the area, but honestly, it kind of gets a little repetitive to watch in my opinion. So I'll just jump ahead to the finished entrance area and show you some shots. I'm really happy how it all came together, from that first experimental structure to the pathing to the ruined village around it to using and riffing off of other people's builds in the workshop and my old builds. So it finally feels like an entrance to like a real place, like there's a world beyond this gate waiting to be explored, that sort of thing. And yeah, speaking of that, here's a quick glance at what guests are meant to see as they step through those ticket gates for the first time. A glimpse of that tower in the distance, the heart of the park, just beyond the trees, just beyond the ruins. And yeah, that'll be the focus of the next episode and the start of our first major coaster ride build. So yeah, thanks for hanging out, guys. I will see you next time. Bye.